Hello, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Mic. Gary Laubach and Mike Joseph for the final edition for the 2024 season. Glad you are with us. It's Lafayette Lehigh for the 160th time. Need we say any more about this particular matchup? Lehigh comes in with an opportunity to win the Patriot League. They're 4-1 right now. A victory will do that for them, as they'll have the tiebreaker over Holy Cross. A loss, however, and a Holy Cross win means that Holy Cross will go to the FCS playoffs. Lafayette, of course, trying to play the spoiler. They're coming in the Patriot League with a 2-3 record, trying to win back-to-back titles since 08-09. So they certainly have the impetus to get out there, and it's Lehigh, so you don't need much more to get you going. Mike, I'm going to throw you a little curve here. Hopefully a lot of our fans are old Seinfeld fans. There was a Seinfeld edition where George Costanza learned that if he did the opposite, if he just did the opposite, his life would turn around. I'm hoping people remember that. I looked at this season as I was going through all the information. This season has been a total opposite. It's amazing. I'll start with the Lehigh standings and the Lafayette standings. Lehigh was picked to be 6th in the league. We were picked to be number 1. Lehigh right now, number 1.
Yeah, that's incredible. And, things haven't gone well in certain key situations for Lafayette. And I think their situation and their season could have been a little different, wins and losses. But Lehigh, I mentioned to Coach Trox, this looks like our season from last year for them.
Exactly.
And you got to give Coach Cahill and his kids a lot of credit. They came back forward. They have better players in place of some of the players they had last year, especially on that offensive line. They're more athletic, and they're much more athletic on defense. So they're getting it done with the basics of football. Play defense, run the football. It's been a good team this year.
And that's the first one that I point to. The second one, they have an upset loss to Bucknell. They lost the ball game to Bucknell in overtime. Last year, we had the upset loss to Colgate. So very similar schedules in the way things turned out to get Lehigh in the position they're in, Lafayette in the position that we are in right now. Lehigh beat Holy Cross. Lafayette beat Holy Cross last year. That kind of knocked Holy Cross out of the picture if indeed Lehigh goes on to win this game. And, of course, we can take care of that and keep them from winning the title. Look at the two coaches. Second year for Kevin Cahill. It is a John Troxel second year.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing. And you go back to that Holy Cross game, Lehigh beat them by 3. We beat them by 3 the year before. We beat a good Princeton team last year. They beat a Princeton team this year. So a lot of different things. And I think going back, you and I talked during the season, they had that 2-week bye, which is kind of odd. And it's happened more this year because of a lot of things, especially with Lafayette as well. But they played Army first game of the season, not 6th or 5th game of the season. So they got a double bye, and really their season has taken off from then, and it's taken off with this good quarterback that they have.
Well, funny you say that, because that leads me to the next opposite. Hayden Johnson will start his first Lafayette-Lehigh game. He's only a freshman. Dean DeNoble last year started his first Lafayette-Lehigh game. There's so many similarities between what Lehigh has done this year and what Lafayette did last year.
Yeah, and also they have the game at their place again, which is kind of odd. So, but I think Dean's been getting healthy, okay? And Hayden's been a good thrower of the football as well, especially last week, over 250 yards passing. But their MO is to run the football. Lafayette and Lehigh are number 1 and number 2 in rushing offense. They both average, one close to 220 yards. Lafayette around 158 yards. But Lafayette, I think, is a little bit more balanced. And with Dean DeNoble healthy and a healthy Jamar Curtis was pulled out of the game early last week to keep him healthy, this is a Lafayette offensive line that now has been together for 4 straight games. Okay, so you got to keep that. I think these are 2 evenly matched offenses. I think Lafayette's offense is a little bit more explosive, and that could be the key.
And I think, obviously, we will count on Jamar as we have the last bunch of weeks. Last year in the Lafayette-Lehigh game, he carried 20. He was involved in 27 of the 40 rushes that Lafayette put on the board. He did a spectacular job, 166 yards, 3 touchdowns, a 46-yard run. There's no question that Jamar Curtis will have the ball in his hands quite a bit this coming Saturday.
Yeah, and did you like the way they got him the ball this past week against Stonehill, passing the football? And I think the week before when they threw a bubble screen to him, these are things we're getting him out in space. You look at that front seven for Lehigh, that's their strength. They can rush the passer. They've been able to stop the run. Like obviously, DiNucci's very good. But I think if you get some of these defenders out in space, one-on-one with a Jamar Curtis, that's an advantage Lafayette.
Yeah, you mentioned the defense of Lehigh. It is very good, just to show you how much they've improved. Their offense averages 30 points a game. That's 12 points better than they averaged last year. Their defense gives up 21.7 points a game. That's minus 8 points better than last year. Total offense, 350 yards, plus 52 yards better than last year. They have 12 sacks. They've only allowed 12 sacks. The defense, minus 136 yards, better than last year.
Yeah, it's a total improvement. And again, they needed to do that. You see the kids have stepped up. So a testament to Coach Cahill. He's done a fantastic job over there. They needed to do something different. They got into a mode where we're going to play defense and we're going to run the football, much like teams start over and they try to do that. The big thing for me, although you look at this game, it's on grass. This is the first grass game that Lafayette has played. And Jamar, to me, is great on all surfaces, but he's a turf back. So on the grass could be a little different, and the weather, we're not sure what that's going to be like. This is a very evenly matched game against a team, Lehigh, who's really come forward. Like I said, they have the home field advantage as well, so that's going to be a factor.
I'm sure you remember your first Lafayette-Lehigh game. All right, you take a 6'1", 195-pound freshman, put him at quarterback. What's going through the mind of Hayden Johnson?
Well, the whole first quarter is going to be a blur. So that's why I always talk about you have to be able to observe and absorb the impact of that first quarter. The emotions are going to be running high. They're going to try to run the football. I think they're going to take the football out of his hands until they get a 1 or 2 score lead. And if Lafayette creeps up, tries to take away the run, they'll try to throw it over the top. It's got great receivers. Jamili's fantastic. Humphrey on the outside is very, very good. But the emotions, I think, Dean DeNoble's been there. Jamar Curtis has been there. This offensive line has been there. What's going to happen? You look at the Eli Stewart has been there. And this quarterback, Johnson, has not. So the first quarter is going to be huge for him to take that absorption of the emotions.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Coach Cahill puts him out there at the beginning of the game. Yeah. Of late, it's been Dante Perry, at least for the first series. Oftentimes the first series of the first half, first series of the second half, maybe just to get Hayden Johnson a look at what's going on and then put him out there. But he has been, as a freshman, terrific. Luke Yoder, Jaden Green, they are as good as it comes. And Lehigh really – they want to run the football. They don't want to throw it that much.
They feed those two guys. And Yoder's been really strong. I mean, he's got that old style kind of Eric Marsh kind of running to him. He's a pounder, but he can take it the distance. And Jalen Green, what a kind of thunder and lightning. He's electric. And I talked about him on Inside the Huddle on kickoff return. He's fantastic. So you can't give these guys a lot. Lafayette's got to get off blocks, make tackles. They tackled well last week. Can't miss tackles in this game. Got to be sufficient on defense and stopping the run. First, stop the run, make this team one-dimensional, and then really kind of put it on the shoulders of Johnson.
Yeah, the defense for Lehigh, too, terrific with some excellent players. You mentioned DiNucci. He's a graduate, so this is his 5th year. He has come in with some great numbers, 76 tackles, 10 tackles for a loss, 5.5 sacks. Bryson Edwards, their other linebacker, has had a good season. But then you got some guys. You got Nick Peltekian, who has been around for a while. Matt Spatney, they've been around for a while in the secondary. It's a formidable defense.
It really is. And I love, obviously, DiNucci and Peltekian in the secondary. He's got 3 interceptions. So he's a lot like a Sekou White, a guy that controls things back there. He's also a punt returner for them. So he can do a lot of things. He's going to control them back there. But there's a lot of weapons for Lafayette. I mean, the way they played last week with obviously Mason Keener and some of these guys running the ball, getting open in the secondary, it's huge for Lafayette to be able to be balanced offensively, not force the run down their throat, but establish the run and obviously let Dean do his thing.
Should be a very interesting game. I think this is the first time in quite a few years where these teams on paper look very evenly matched, which means it should be a great contest. A lot at stake for Lehigh. Certainly, mentally, a lot at stake for the Lafayette football staff and the football team. It's a noon kickoff. You can join us at 11:30 on ESPN+. We've got a 15-minute pregame coming your way. Then we'll take a little break, back on for kickoff. I know you're not going to miss it because if you're watching this, you're watching Lafayette Lehigh for sure. Thanks to Mike for another great season of Behind the Mic. Thanks to all of you for spending time with us each week. For all of us, I'm Gary Laubach. Thanks for watching.